Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today we'll be having an update on our small snow chance that's going to be coming in later tonight into tomorrow morning. Could be some light accumulations out there, and then we'll have a big update on the major winter storm that's expected to roll through the Ohio Valley Sunday into Monday morning. We got a lot of model data to look into that as well, and I will express the scenarios on that system as well. But let's first get started with the maximum temperatures today. It was actually a prettier day, mostly sunny across central and eastern Kentucky, though a little bit chilly, but it was a nicer day. Low 40s across the central and eastern part of the state. Western Kentucky was in the mid 40s for your high temperatures, and if we look at temperatures right now, we've cooled down into the mid 30s in the colder valleys, eastern Kentucky. Look at there. Lewis County's already dropped down to 28, 29 in Breathitt, in Johnson County. So in them colder valleys, it's getting cold pretty quick in them valleys. Meanwhile, Western Kentucky is still hanging around the 40-degree mark out there. And talk about that snow chance later tonight. And it's part of a Clipper system that's expected to move into the Ohio Valley later tonight and into tomorrow morning. Models trended a little more enthusiastic with the snow potential with this. Could be pockets of some moderate snow across parts of northern Kentucky, and then could eventually expand into parts of central Kentucky. The Bullgrass region could be a quick hitting band of some light to moderate snow that could put some minor accumulations, mainly on grassy and elevated surfaces. But the best chance for accumulations is still going to be in northeastern Kentucky, where we may see anywhere from a coating to maybe close to an inch of snow up there. If we check out the snow accumulation potential from the HRRR, you can see here Bullgrass region, maybe a coating at best. That's the same for parts of southeastern Kentucky, but check out northeastern Kentucky. Could be anywhere from about half an inch to almost an inch of snow in some places. So that's where the best concentration of them, some of them locally higher accumulations, would be located state-wise. If we check out the high-res NAM, you'll see a pretty similar outcome. Could be more of a showery or drizzle a little bit farther back to the southwest, but most of your cold airs can be confined across central and eastern Kentucky, and most of it should be in the form of snow. Can I roll out maybe a quick sprinkle, a few raindrops, or maybe even a little bit of sleet that could get mixed in, but most of it should be snow out of the system here. And pretty similar look from the HRRR in terms of the accumulation potential. Best chance for accumulations northeastern Kentucky, though parts of central and southeastern Kentucky can still get a quick coating to maybe almost a half an inch of snow as well. And then we stay mostly dry for Saturday. It's a cold day as well, highs in the 30s. And then we talk about our upcoming winter storm that's expected to arrive on Sunday. We got some new models that are in range. The NAM and the High-Res Canadian are in range, so we're going to look at those. There's your Clipper system for tomorrow morning. And then here we go, getting into Sunday morning here. Now, sometimes the models are going to have a hard time with the precipitation type maps out here, so it may look messy from time to time, and sometimes it just don't handle it very well. Sometimes it's completely wrong with the precipitation type, and I'll talk a little more about that a little bit later here. But you can see here as you get into Sunday morning into the early afternoon, rain is falling across parts of western Kentucky. Your low is still way back to the west, still back towards southwestern Missouri or Joplin, Missouri, and plenty of precipitation ongoing here in Kentucky despite it being far away. Big area of freezing rain out there as well in those reddish colors. The purple colors is sleet, and then of course the blue color is snow. So a decent chunk of this may actually start as snow. You might be able to put some light accumulations on the ground in terms of snow because of how cold the temperatures will be. Out ahead of that, temperatures are going to be deep in the 20s, so can certainly be cold enough for some light accumulations, even for the snow on the leading edge. But eventually, we transition over to sleet, and then some freezing rain gets involved. The stuff that nobody likes. So this is getting into Sunday afternoon, getting close to the evening. You got 1,001 millbar low in the Foothill of Missouri. Out ahead of it, got freezing rain that's ongoing, generally along the I-64 corridor, even stretching back down towards the along the Mountain Parkway. And then that band of heavy snow, and going on across parts of West Virginia, southern Ohio, back up towards central Indiana and Illinois, and going back all the way to eastern Kansas. This is a massive snow shield. This system here is going to have a massive shield of moderate to at times heavy snow out there. And at the same time here, there's going to be some severe weather ongoing across parts of the South. There's a slight risk for severe weather down there. Damaging winds and isolated tornadoes could be possible down there for your Sunday. So there's going to be a lot going on with this system here. Severe weather to the south, snowstorm to the north, ice storm in between. So yeah, a lot that's going on here. And you can see here that rain line could potentially go as far north as at least the BG Parkway or the Mountain Parkway. So the NAM has that rain line getting pretty far to the north. But still, then again, still a lot of freezing rain, especially across northern Kentucky. And we also got this dry slot coming in here. And something that the higher resolution models are starting to hint on. A dry slot moves in as that low pressure moves in here, which the low pressure system may actually trend a little weaker when it gets into Kentucky. And when that happens, you lose some of that lift and dry air really starts to invade into the system. So the NAM's like, you know what, there could be a decent amount of dry time when that low pressure system gets here. And that could always change. But you can also see towards the north, plenty of snow up towards the Ohio Valley. And this is actually the end of the run of the NAM. But a little bit north compared to what we've seen in the last couple of days here. But even though it's a little bit to the north, it still brings some significant impacts out there. So that's the NAM. Let's check out the high-res Canadian model, and you can see here by Sunday afternoon, a little more enthusiastic with the snow compared to the NAM model here. Even a period of some heavy snow, parts of the Bluegrass region, and then your freezing rain and sleet, your wintry mix area is much bigger compared to the NAM model here. It's also got the low a little bit farther south, 1,004 millbar low over Little Rock, Arkansas. That low starts to move towards the northeast, passing to the north of Memphis, and then it reaches into northwestern Tennessee. And once again, severe weather ongoing across parts of Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. And that's going to be an important factor too. Severe weather is actually going to have an impact farther up north. And I'll explain why in a little bit. But with the high-res Canadian solution, a lot of sleet out there. A ton of sleet compared to the NAM model. Of course, there's a lot of freezing rain out there as well. That low tracks into Bowling Green by Sunday night. Kind of continues on a more northeasterly track there. And once again, still a lot of snow up there across parts of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, back towards Missouri. And this is also the end of the high-res Canadian model round. A lot more moisture compared to the NAM model. And speaking of them storms across the south, what happens is that if we go back to the NAM model here, anytime we have severe weather or big storms across parts of the deep south here, it actually robs some of that moisture for the snow and the freezing rain and sleet farther up north. So that's actually going to be very important. How many big thunderstorms down there can really determine of how much snow could really be up here, because it could knock down them snowfall totals up towards especially Indiana and Ohio out there, just because of the timing of those thunderstorms initiating. And it won't have as much of an impact on snowfall totals in Missouri and Illinois than Indiana and Ohio. So that's going to be important to watch as well. And that can also have an impact on us in terms of the freezing rain and sleet totals as well. So that's going to be something important to keep an eye on. Let's check out the icon model, and you'll see here 1,000 millibar low southwestern Missouri, kind of just like the NAM model, though it is much more enthusiastic with the freezing rain, but I don't think the precipitation type map is accurate here. Very large area of freezing rain here, but in reality, I want to say in here is probably sleet. I would imagine here. For some reason, it's not showing any sleet up there, but it should be. And then down here should be correct. That freezing rain down there as well. And it's also a stronger system too. 998 millibars going over central Kentucky. Might be too strong for my liking here. Might be a little bit overdone with the intensity, but even though with the intensity of the storm, of course with a stronger storm, it tracks a little bit farther north as well. So, and that can also mean with a stronger low, more milder air gets flooded in. So that pushes that freezing rain line farther north, and that warm air advection, which is what would determine our precipitation types, can also go farther to the north as well. So the intensity system can also have an impact on the ice and the sleet and the snow. So yeah, you also got that being a contender on how much ice we could potentially see. Let's move on to the GFS, the American model. This is the newest run here. You can see here getting into Sunday afternoon, 1,000 millibar low, northwestern Arkansas, a little bit farther south. A little bit closer to the high-risk Canadian. You can see there heavy snow across parts of northern Kentucky, and then you got sleet moving in into the bluegrass region, and then you got your freezing rain. Pretty strong with the low pressure system as well, 997 millibars, northeastern Arkansas there. That could really lead to a big severe weather event down across the parts of the deep south. And of course, with a stronger surface low, that can mean the track is going to be farther north, which you can see here again into Sunday night. That low pressure system is tracking over the Western Parkway, so that really brings that rain line all the way up to I-64, and that freezing rain is a little more focused across northern Kentucky. And you can even see here that sleet line even goes as far north as Indianapolis and Columbus. That could really take down the snowfall totals up there that's if this is correct, of course. But as soon as that low pressure system does go by, everybody should transition to all snow by Monday, with periods of snow showers, and some of them snow showers can be moderate at times as well. And we can definitely get some snowfall totals off them snow showers as well. What about the European model? This is the 12Z run of the European model, 1,001 millibar low, Sunday afternoon, southwestern Missouri, kind of closer to the NAM. A lot of freezing rain out there on this run of the Euro. Low tracks a tad bit to the north, kind of along the western and bluegrass parkways, and it moves over towards Pikeville. And then as soon as it gets towards Pikeville, that's when that colder air starts to crash in here. But I also want to talk about the backside of low here, because this is also going to be important. Check out these isobars on the backside of low. There is potential for some strong winds on the backside of this low here, potentially 20 to 30 mile per hour winds. If that comes true, that could be a big problem if we do get significant icing. If we end up getting some significant ice totals with those 20, 30 mile an hour winds, that is going to cause some big problems, especially for the power outages as well. Power outages can be more numerous if that scenario does play out. So that's another thing we got to watch for as well, is those winds on the backside of it can be strong enough to cause some problems out there. And then we'll check out the Canadian model here. And you can see here also tracks that low there, just kind of along and south of the Western and Bluegrass Parkways. It's also got a significant amount of ice, a lot of sleet across northern Kentucky, and that heaviest of snow is more focused up towards Indiana and Ohio. And then that low there departs by Monday afternoon, and then everybody should be transitioned to snow by that point as well. So overall, still a pretty decent agreement in terms of the track of the low. Notably, malls have trended a little bit north on the low track today, and that can make some differences on where the heaviest of the ice, some of the highest freezing rain totals could be, and also that sleet as well. That sleet line will also be farther north, which can make things a little more certain on the heavy snow potential for our friends up north, up in Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. So it does make a difference up there as well. There's still some uncertainty with the track here of the low here, and I'll show you guys the ensembles. This is the GFS ensembles here for Sunday night. It's also ticked a little bit to the north as well. That mean low tracks kind of going from Paducah all the way through Lexington up towards Ashland. And with that type of low track, that keeps the heaviest the ice potential focus a little more north of I-64 and north of the parkways up there, with the heaviest icing potential up there with a farther northern track. But you can see the members here. You got members as far north as Bloomington, Indiana, which I think that's going to be an outlier. I don't see it going that far north. But you can also see here some auto members still keep it down in Tennessee around that same time. So you still have some uncertainty with the track of the low, but the mean of the low and overall it has trended north just a little bit in today's model runs. And we can also look into the European ensembles, still a little south compared to the GFS ensembles, but it also has trended north just a little bit as well, and that's been kind of the main theme throughout the day. Now the 18Z Euro did come out. I can't show you guys because I don't have access to it, but I did see a GIF of the 18Z Euro. It did tick a little bit to the south. It has more of a west to east type of track, which really isn't a good thing, but it tracks kind of across the southern two-row counties of Kentucky, and it kind of tracks something like that from Bowling Green towards Harlan. With that type of track, that could potentially mean more ice, because that ice towards the north here, you can have freezing rain for a longer duration with that type of track. So, that solution is not set in stone, but it can still be a possibility. Now, the storm system is still offshore, but it is expected to be onshore tomorrow in the Pacific Northwest. So, by tomorrow, models will have more accurate weather data. You may see a notable shift to the north, or maybe a little bit to the south. Time will tell on that. But when we get that accurate model data, that's when we can actually start talking about numbers out there. I also want to talk about the weather predictioner's outlook here. As you guys seen yesterday, it had a pretty broad light blue area out there, 70-90% chance of basically seeing snow and sleet. And look at the update today, very large area of 90 to basically 100% chance of seeing snow and sleet. It's not often you see 90% probabilities on their day 4 outlook and this expansive. So that really gets to tell you that this is a high confidence forecast, and there's a ton of confidence with this system here bringing significant impacts, not just to the Ohio Valley, but also parts of the Mid-Atlantic and back towards Missouri and Kansas could also see significant impacts out of this system as well. So it's not just going to be us here in Kentucky, but for multiple states going to have to deal with the ice storm and the significant snow potential as well. And I kind of want to talk about scenarios for a little bit. So I got this blank map out here. So let's just say if this ends up trending north tomorrow. What if the trend continues to go more north? So let's just say the low goes for Poplar Bluff and it kind of follows north of the parkways, and let's just say it goes north of Ashland, Kentucky. What could this mean here? Well, the ice accumulation, we'll do this in pink here. The greatest ice accumulation totals will be focused more across southern Indiana and far northern Kentucky. This can actually mean a little more rain for these areas down here, generally along and south of the parkways. Could see a little bit more rain than that freezing rain, which can actually be the best case scenario. That could really lower your freezing rain potential, and we can still get sleet and snow as well. Even with this scenario here, there's still a lot of cold air out ahead of this system. We're probably going to still start as snow or sleet, mainly up towards the bluegrass region. Southern Kentucky may start more as freezing rain or sleet. Snow, there might be a touch of snow out there, but overall, this can be mostly rain across southern Kentucky, the southern half of Kentucky, which this would actually be the best case scenario, with the most significant impacts being more focused across southern Indiana, northern Kentucky, into southern Ohio. So that's one of the scenarios. What if it tracks farther to the south? Like if it goes across, just north of Little Rock, Arkansas, and then goes over Nashville, over Harlan, Kentucky. What about a track like this? Well, that significant ice thread, that ice storm thread, could be more focused towards the south. Can be more focused for these areas, down in here, for that significant ice potential. And I can also go, let me do a little better job writing this, drawing this, but significant ice potential could be more focused towards the south here, with some rain still mixing in, across, far southeastern Kentucky. But a lot of these areas here in this pink shade can stay mostly freezing rain. That's where that significant ice strike could be situated. You'll have a decent amount of sleet and snow being mixed in these areas in here, and then it could be mainly snow up here across northern Kentucky up towards Cincinnati. Now, if this comes true, there might be the potential for double-digit snowfall totals up towards northern Kentucky. There's a lot of snow, there's plenty of moisture, a lot of cold air to work with. Could be a lot of snow up there. So there's another scenario, and let's do one more scenario. How about this low here kind of goes through, it's situated far southeastern Missouri, and it kind of goes on a more west to east type of track, kind of following along the Kentucky and Tennessee border. Well, with this type of scenario, this is honestly would be the worst case scenario for us. In my personal opinion, this would be the worst case scenario for a good chunk of us. You would have a significant amount of icing in these areas in here. Would be a big ice storm, especially being more west to east. You would be in freezing rain for a longer duration. You will also could see potentially a good amount of sleet and snow in these areas in here, and then there could be mainly snow up in here. And of course, along that low pressure system track here, you'll have that mix, probably starting out as freezing rain and sleet, and eventually transitioning over to all rain down across parts of southern Kentucky, which could lead to some localized flooding issues. Could be a decent amount of rain down there as well. So right now, there isn't really a most likely scenario right now, though I would say that it's probably going to be more likely to be in between, in terms of the low pressure system track. I want to say probably the most likely track is going to be, I probably want to say somewhere in here, And depending on how the models react to the new data, this could change. It could shift more to the north, could stay the same, or maybe it could go a tad bit south. There's more room for the system to trend north than south as of right now. But whenever we can get that data, very important weather data that we need tomorrow, that's when we can start talk about numbers. I'll probably even make a snow accumulation map and ice accumulation map as well. So definitely stay tuned for another video for tomorrow for the snow and ice. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. If the agreement is strong tomorrow, I'll definitely do that. But anyways, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoy this weather update. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. If you really like my channel, hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. If you guys got any questions, you can put in the comment section down below. I'll answer you guys questions, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye and have a good day.